I'm changing the plan. We are not buying the new field in January. The field we've been eyeing is double the size of our biggest field and has a great place for production buildings, plenty of room for another shed, and maybe even more trees. So what are we doing? The barley field had those strange thin lines of weeds show up, which made us have to rent the hoe and spend more money just to get it looking good and at its best. I'm not convinced the strips of weeds would have cost us that much yield, but it's just the thought of having weeds sitting in the barley field month after month that bothered me. And we made a commitment to have a quality field we could be proud of. With the weeds gone, let me show you why we're not buying the new field in January. This is the new field, and it has sunflowers in it that are dried and ready for harvest. So instead of buying the field in January, we're going to try to buy it next month in November, 2 months early. If we roll the dice a little and hope Noah, the current owner of the field, doesn't harvest it himself here in October, then we might be able to scrape together enough cash to buy and harvest the sunflowers ourselves. This is a great field. It has this old shed in the corner, which is unfortunately more decorative than useful. It has a fairly expansive flat area in the back for big productions and sheds like I talked about. It even has several natural trees we can harvest for the sawmills, and maybe even plant more. The only issue is we're currently $50,000 short, and we've sold almost all our products that we can sell here in October. If you recall, the last episode was a selling frenzy that brought in around $100,000, so there's not much left, but we do have a few things. If there was ever a time that anyone was gonna make a comment about the trees being the MVP of the playthrough, now's the time. We can sell another load or two of raw timber, and as I was driving over here, I saw that we have some more planks at the sawmill. So, between the trees and the cut lumber, we might have enough. Let's load and sell this trailer of logs and see where we are. Well, the logs kinda wanted to migrate off the back, but they're on there with no escape from their destiny to the sawmill. Fantastic! We're up to almost 167,000. Let's get back to the farm and see what else there is. Well, I checked the sawmills, and there's just not enough lumber there to give us what we need. We're still almost 40,000 short, which is quite a lot on hard mode. We're going to risk rolling into November and hope the sunflowers are still there. It'll also give the sawmills more time to generate those important planks and beams, and it'll all add up. We'll just have to see. One of the reasons I'm wanting those sunflowers is because of the oil mill we're planning on buying later on in the year. We're growing canola to use in the mill to press into oil, but those sunflowers also make excellent oil. The full-size oil mill is going to be very hungry for crops, and I wouldn't be surprised if it consumed 100,000 liters over the course of a year. And right now, even with that new field, it won't be producing that kind of volume. So the sunflowers will help keep the mill productive while we get more fields and crops going. Let's get all these planks and beams sold and see what it does to our account. I decided not to be greedy and overload the tiny trailer. So this is a load of mainly long planks with one beam pallet. That Playground Maker haul is offering a special price, so this could turn out really good. Well, the Playground Maker haul doesn't seem to want any more long planks, but that's okay. The other sell point should take lots. So we'll just ramble around over there. We should still get a good sum. And are now looking at around 25,000. We're almost there. We'll get the beams we left behind and sell those. It won't be all we need, but it'll certainly be a nice addition. $10,000, about 14,000 away. We're so close. Let's check on the field. Yes, the sunflowers are still here. Fortunately, they didn't need to be harvested until the second harvest month, so that's even more incentive. And I know exactly where we can get the rest of the money we need. You guessed it, the trees. I'm telling you, if there was ever a time that trees came in clutch, it's right now. It's one reason why I always like to have at least a few trees always on hand. When we need some extra cash, it's available through the chainsaw. There we go. A much better looking load than last time, and this batch is going over to the carpentry for the best price. Over $19,000 for the trees, over $213,000 in the account. We've made our financial goal to buy the new property. Let's get back to the farm and make our land purchase. $207,000, our biggest field purchase so far in the series, and it's ours. Let's see what we've got. This is a magnificent field, and even though it's not in the best condition, it needs lime, it needs plowing, and has some weeds. All of that we can handle with no problem at all. I'm glad we still have a little money in the account because I knew we'd have to rent a header for the combine. It requires one of these that's for corn and sunflowers. Of our choices, I think we'll go for one of the cheaper ones, just to keep the cost down, and select the red case header. It'll match the Massey Ferguson combine better. We'll drop the header we own off at the side of the field and actually use our combine to go fetch the sunflower header. We should get a header trailer pretty soon, but the sunflower harvest is a one-time effort, at least for a while, so we'll just make do with what we have. Now, last time, I took a very long, convoluted way around the map to get to the farm, and it didn't turn out that well. So this time, I'm gonna take my chances with the ferry. The header is too wide to fit through the fencing at the gate, but I believe a running start will do the trick. I just hope we can get off the ferry. We'll give it a little run, a slight wiggle, and we're through. Not very realistic, I know, but in all fairness, the last time with the header was worse. Who would have ever thought we'd be harvesting sunflowers? Everything's constantly evolving. Let's put the harvester to work on our brand new field. You can see here the big stubble being left behind. That would be great to mulch in for a little extra yield, if we owned a mulcher. The priority right now, though, is to get the sunflowers harvested. These sunflowers are an unexpected and welcomed bonus to the farm, and working the field feels so good right now, regardless of what we get as a yield. let's sit back and enjoy the harvest. Wow, a late afternoon sunflower harvest in November. It doesn't get much better. As we come down the final stretches, I'll tell you what we plan to do with the field. After the harvest, we need to lime the field and plow the field. Those two things will be first. We'll do some fertilization, then in March, we'll plant a round of oats. After that, and in the same year, we'll plant canola as what I'm seeing as the field's permanent crop. The sunflowers and the canola will all go into the big oil mill we'll be buying, which I believe will also be next year. We'll put the last of the sunflower seeds into the silo for safekeeping and get the sunflower header returned, and put back on our regular grain header for storage in the shed. What a view from the field! And what a way to end the month of November. A new field and a new harvested crop. December will be a fairly light month on the farm chore-wise. Everything is all stable on all the other fields, including the canola field, and I'd work on doing those improvements to the new field, but we don't have the money. I think the cost of the lime spreader alone, even before buying several pallets of lime, is more than we have in the bank. So any field improvements will have to wait until January, when we'll go through another big round of selling. For now, we'll go get the trailer converted, and on the way, take a look at some of our natural trees. I think we can cut a couple of these near the road that are on our property and feed them to the sawmill. There's some downy serviceberry shrubs we could also clear. But yeah, I think that's a good idea to use one of these trees for the sawmill. It's really the one chore that needs doing this month. We'll go ahead, get it cut down and wrangled over to the sawmill. It wasn't the easiest thing we've done, but it's in there. And as long as we're filling up sawmills, we'll grab one of the massive elm trees down near the other sawmill and get it loaded too. This big boy will probably have to be carried and pushed in a couple pieces. Okay. Two of the big limbs are positioned for shoving into the trigger when the sawmill burns through some wood, and we've got the biggest portion of the trunk still up where it was cut down. We needed to get the elm out of there before the oak trees around it got bigger and interfered with cutting down the elm. And speaking of oaks, they've already reached their first growth stage. We'll be needing them as soon as they're ready. We'll continue with the task we originally set out on to convert the trailer, because we'll need it to start loading the mushrooms, more goat milk, more planks and beams, and make another pile of money. In the next episode, hit the like button if the farm's starting to feel productive, and I'll see you in the next one.